Hi guys, welcome back to this African perspective. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, so guys, we're going to be checking out videos about people who are living at home back with their parents, and some people actually saying there are a lot of people who will judge you and be like, why are you living with your parents? So this is like a part 3 of living at home with your parents. The rent has actually gone up high, and so that's the reason why a lot of people, some of them have moved away from home before, but they're going right back to their parents, while some are just choosing to stay at home because at the end of the day it's really better for you to just stay home than go and start struggling and battling on your own. I know, like, the whole independence thing, you having your own place as an adult, it's like, oh yeah, you should, want to have your own space, have your own place. But if you cannot afford it, why put yourself in that kind of situation when you could just save more money while being at home? But before we get right into these videos and check them out, make sure you please click the like button. It really helps with the algorithm and I appreciate that so much. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Let's get right into it.
I am moving back into my parents' house at 23 years old, and let's fucking talk about it. I got this apartment about a year ago, and I had just graduated college. I graduated with a Bachelor in Arts of Psychology with a minor in Creative Writing and English. Now, I'm sorry, but a 4-year psychology degree is absolutely useless unless you go forward with it. I didn't have money nor time to go forward with it, so I wanted to get straight into the job field, and I could always go back to school. So I went and I got a sales job, a corporate sales job. And it was obviously a 9 to 5 every single day, Monday through Friday. And if anyone who works in sales knows that your first year absolutely sucks. I could not afford my own rent and my student loan payment just on the salary alone. It was around $47K, just to be fully transparent. It wasn't around, it was $47K, sorry. And before anyone fucking says, oh, dude, you were working, I worked 7 days a week. I got a part-time job serving on the weekends. So I would do Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, working in Jamaica, Queens, and going door to door. Not a good area, especially when you don't know how to parallel park, because I'm from Long Island. Anyways, going there Monday through Friday, I would drive back in around 2 hours worth of traffic, and then on Saturday and Sunday, I would go and serve at a restaurant all day a double. And that still was barely getting me by. So I hated the job so much, and I was like, okay, this is like, I could make this somewhere else. I might as well find another job. I've wanted to be a teacher for a while now. I haven't been able to afford to go back to school. So I'm now a preschool teacher, right? Which I work Monday through Friday, actually 8 to like 6 o'clock sometimes. It really depends on the day. Usually it's 5:30, but 6 o'clock is how it goes. I also keep that serving job on the weekends because I cannot afford to live. I cannot afford to live. I do not hang out with friends. I don't go out very often. I'm also not a drinker, so I don't go out and anything like that, right? I still cannot afford to live. I am draining my savings, which I don't want to be doing in my 20s. I'm 23 years old. I want to be building my savings at anything. So I decided to move back with my parents for a year. I was very against it because me and my parents, we get along, but from a distance. But it was my last option, and the cost of living is absolutely insane despite working 7 days a week. If I even tried to get another job, it would have to be an overnight shift somewhere. That's not manageable when I have to get up as early as I do. It makes me mad when people say, oh, like, Gen Z is so lazy. I promise you I'm the least thing from lazy. I have a crippling fear of not doing enough. I actually hate not having something to do. I can't just relax and watch TV. I don't even watch TV unless my boyfriend's here. I am always cleaning. I am always doing something, or I am working. I never just sit down and relax. I think it's an anxiety thing. But at 23 years old, having a full-time job with benefits and all, I should be able to afford my living situation. Yet I can't, and I'm not the only one who has this shit. Any entry-level job is not enough money to live on. And it sucks. It sucks. I'm going back to school to get my master's, and that is why I'm moving back with my parents, because I will not be able to work 7 days a week while taking a full thing of classes. Yay, so fun.
It's a weird dynamic. The U.S. parents financially supporting their adult children. Nearly half of U.S. parents are helping their adult children cover living costs, with some saying their children's dependency creates stress on their own finances because we are grappling with higher food and living costs than they did. And it is true. It is sad. I know that I had to depend on my mom for a long time as well. I mean, she wasn't paying for something, but I was still living with her and I was paying rent and stuff for a long time. And it's sad. You start to feel like you are not a real adult and that you have failed at life, but it's not you. That's what I had to learn the hard way. It's not me. It is this whole system of capitalism. It is prevented to keep us down so we are not able to gain the riches. The rich are hoarding all the wealth and we're not getting anything. They're taxing us out of the woohoo, and the rich are not getting taxed at all. So it's not our fault. And I hate to put the blame on someone else, but no, I don't. I love to put the blame on somebody else because I love to blame other people. It's not our fault. Parents shared that their adult kids could not afford housing, transport, childcare, Medicare, or insurance without their help, often despite working full-time, skilled jobs. It's sad. We should be able to work full-time and pay for ourselves. We shouldn't have to depend on our parents, but we can't help it because of the economy and the state that is going on right now. This needs to change.
So because the world is kind of like economically fucked right now, my parents are like the nicest people ever, and they've offered to help me and my siblings out, right? Until we like are capable of saving enough to purchase a house, right? Then we're kind of off on in the world on our own. And my mum made a comment the other day. She said, as long as you're living under my roof, I will pay for things like your car rego. Really, really lucky, right? Little does she know I never plan on moving out. Free car rego for life. Woo! This is a joke. Don't get butthurt, assholes.
There's absolutely no shame in actually me going back home. Honestly, if you're gonna come and tell me, oh, I should be ashamed of myself for being, in my parents' house, for not having my own place, that's on you. I would be so proud to have that kind of shame where it's like I don't have any bills to pay. Like, how is that even you shaming me for not having bills to pay? How is that a shame? Like, I'm just chilling at home, going to work, and my money at the end of the day, when I'm done, I can have some money in my pocket. So when I hear some people actually ranting about how the rent is too high, and then I see that their ages are like, around like 19, 18, 19, 20, 21, I'm like, what are you even doing? Like, trying to, hurry up and just leave home, especially if your home, like, it's okay. I understand some people just, they don't like their home, they don't like being around family because of maybe it could be toxic. But if everything is just, kind of okay, it's bearable, I don't understand where they are running to and where they are rushing to and then complain about the rent and how high it is. It's like, it's just best for you to take a chill pill.
I'm 30 and I still live at home with my parents. I'm sure some of you will be turned off by this, or some of you may be able to relate, but I thought it would be interesting to kind of talk about the way we live life now compared to 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Growing up, living at home past like going to school, like university, college, whatever it may be, was seen as like embarrassment and like super wrong. Obviously, like when I grew up, it was like you go to university, you get your degree, then you get a job straight away, and then you follow those steps, like meet your partner, get a dog, get your house, have your kid, do all those things. But I've never been that person. Like, I have never ever followed the steps, societal steps that have been kind of like put into me. And I guess what my parents did when they were growing up. So for me, that just like wasn't the way things happened. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that are following those steps and they're really, really happy. And there's nothing wrong with that, honestly. But I feel like there's still a lot of people that did follow those steps and they're not happy. Maybe they got married really young and they found out that their partner and themselves grew apart, or whatever it may be. Like, zero judgment, you do you. But for me, that just wasn't, what happened. My 20s were like kind of different. And the first like 6 of them really were spent being ill. And so there was no kind of like thought of me living by myself. I obviously very wanted my own place, but I never could afford to do it. And I didn't see myself really having a future, so I didn't invest in my future. I didn't have a savings or anything like that. I just spent money because I didn't think I would make it past the age of 25. So for me, like setting up savings accounts for my future home or apartment or whatever just like wasn't a thing. And I'm sure like maybe there'll be someone else who can relate, but I just never did that. And I'm 30, but I spent the last 5 years of my life running a business and I didn't really make any money out of it. And there's so much to go into that, but that's the reality of kind of where my life is at right now. And you can say whatever you want, but that's the cards I've been dealt, so that's what I'm working with. And then I absolutely want my own place. I don't want to live with my parents forever. I'm super, super driven to get my own place by the end of this year, but we'll see what happens. if I don't hit that goal, it's not going to be the end of the world. I'll be 31 at the end of this year, and obviously I will want to be living by myself, but life is really expensive right now, especially if you live in Canada. Then you know the housing market is absolutely bonkers. Like, you can't find a nice house under 500K anymore. And most houses are like 800 plus now. And rent is also ridiculous. Like, to rent by myself is like 2,500 plus. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that can afford that, but there's a lot of people that can't, because that's just rent. And then the grocery prices here are absolutely insane. Like, if you're from Canada, then you know inflation has really done us hard, especially when it comes to housing and groceries and gas. And those are just like the necessities. Like, that's not adding in like experiences, life, anything like that. So it can be super discouraging to kind of like be at a state where obviously I want to be living by myself, but I can't afford to right now, and that is my reality. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people that are in similar situations. Maybe they've gone through some major hardships in life and they've had to move back home with their parents while they figure things out. And there's nothing wrong with that. I used to be super ashamed, super embarrassed for my whole 20s at the fact that I was still living at home, and just thought that like people would think of me differently. But it's really cool. And I honestly don't see a ton of people online around my age who are still living at home. And that's just like, I'm not getting served that. I'm getting served like the people that are either with their partners or have their own apartments or have their own houses already, mostly in the US, but in Canada, I'm not seeing that. And I'm just not finding like late 20s, early 30s who are still living with their parents. So I want to be that person for other people that also aren't finding that. And I wanted to like kind of share this perspective that I'm kind of coming into realization now. And a lot of people have been telling me about this, is that this time spent with my parents was truly a gift. Like, I've become so close to my parents. My mom is literally my best friend. I love spending time with them. We eat dinner together every night, which may not be normal for someone who's 30 with their parents. And that's just like my reality. And I know one day I'll be able to look back on this last, like, how long have I been living at home? Since I was 23, last like 7-8 years, and be like super grateful at the time I got with my parents, because obviously I know, which I hate this, is that they're not going to live forever. I'm not going to live forever. And I don't know how long, right? We have no idea how long we're all going to be on this earth. But the fact that I got this extra time with them that maybe I wouldn't have gotten before if I had met someone or if I was living somewhere else. Like, I don't know. I think there's a different perspective we can take on living at home with our parents when we're in our like late 20s, 30s, late 30s, whatever it may be, and just kind of let go of the shame and the embarrassment. And if you want to reflect that on me, that's fine, but I'm pretty secure and I'm working towards it. And I know there's a lot of other people that are too. So if you're also living at home with your parents and you're 30 or late 20s or 20s, whatever it may be, and you feel like you're behind, you're not behind. You're on your own journey and you're following your own life journey, and you can't compare to anybody else. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Honestly, it's even in the Western world where it's like a shame for you to be in your parents' house at a certain age, like, you know, where it's like, oh, at the moment you're 18, you just turn 18, just get out of your parents' house, you know, go on your own and go and start. Where your parents are even like, as soon as you just get 18, they're like, okay, when are you gonna leave or go and get a job? And it's like, yeah, it's just a different thing, because I feel like in other cultures and other people's ways, like, they don't care. Like, your child can be, you know, older, can be 26, can be in their 30s, and they will be at home. Like, only in a situation where, okay, let's say for instance they get married, then they'll leave your home and go and find a home for their own self. But being at home, it's like you're welcome. So there's like more of a societal life where it's like you can assist each other. You can even go and live with your aunties, you can live with your uncles, you can live with close relatives. So to see a situation where like people are being shamed for living with their parents, where it's like, those are your parents, it's a problem. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I still cannot comprehend why it's something that somebody should be ashamed of, especially when the situation is even very, very tough for you to be out there on your own.
And on a much lighter note, taking some light off my horrible dating experiences, and according to some of y'all, my horrible decision-making skills. Let's normalize it being okay to live at home with your parents. Like, at this point in, like, 2024, they're making it almost nearly impossible to live comfortably if you want to live nice in, like, certain areas and certain parts of, like, Florida. It's so expensive. Like, it's almost crazy. Literally, like, a 2-bedroom apartment should not be $2,700. Like, I would say 15 at the most, maybe 14. Anything above $1,500 a month for 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms is outrageous, to say the least. Like, that's not even including your car note, car insurance, your, other utilities, having groceries, self-care. Like, that's just crazy. Why is it so expensive? I don't get it. Someone answer me, please. Like, you almost need, like, 2 jobs, 2 or 3 jobs, or 2 different types of income just to, sustain. It's just crazy to me. And I was always, like, taught to, like, it's okay to live at home. It's okay to stay at home. Like, I don't let anybody make me feel less than because I live at home, because, baby, I'm saving buku money, like, buku, until I find the place that I want and the location that I want. And I'm able to move easily from one build to the next. Like, I'm not going to struggle just so I can prove a point. Like, I don't care what nobody say. Times is hard. Like, it costs money to live. Like, it costs money to live. And it's just not in the cards for me to be, like, proving points and spending $2,700 a month on an apartment and trying to pay a car note, car insurance, light bill, phone bill, etc., etc. Like, that's just crazy to me. No. It's just so expensive to live, y'all. I promise, like, I thank God for my job every day because I'm able to, do what I need to do. But sometimes I just don't even like going to the grocery store. Like, I went in Publix 2 days ago and I spent $200 and I had like 5 to 10 items maybe. And most of that was just like household items. That wasn't even food or meat or anything like that. It just costs so much money to live. They're making it almost impossible to live regularly and to just maintain daily life and daily expenses. Like, every time you breathe, you have to spend money on something. Like, it's crazy. I don't know. I don't get it.
Want to know how I know the economy is truly in shambles? My parents are starting to realize the economy is in shambles. My mom had to get another job to figure out things. Now, when she was growing up, things were a lot cheaper. She got a house and everything. She was doing fine and dandy. And now she had to get a job. She was looking for, something simple, like $15 an hour. She realized $15 an hour ain't that much. It's garbage. It's trash. Then she was like, oh, I mapped it out. She messaged me. She said, I mapped it out. I need $50 an hour to keep up with everything. I said, $50 an hour? Mom, you're not going to get $50 an hour. She said, why not? I need that to be able to keep up with everything. I said, Mom, listen to me. The economy doesn't care about you. She said, what? I said, they don't care about you. Because when you grew up, Mom, you could get 3 houses, 16,000 acres, and 3 meals at Five Guys Burgers and Fry. You get that'd be easy. Because the economy was stable, it was even. You worked a good job, 40 hours a week, you could maintain a house, maintain a nuclear family. 1 boy, 1 girl, 1 dad, 1 mom. You could do that. You could be a stay-at-home mom. But now you're realizing you can't do that. Now, this is how I knew the economy was really messed up. She said, that's weird. How are you guys living? Great question, Mom. How are we living? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know how we're living. I have no clue. I'm kind of just winging it day by day, praying, kind of hoping, kind of edging it out every single day, kind of wishing on a star, hoping to make a wish happen, hoping I meet Mr. Beast in public, honestly, at this point, because we're just guessing. We're just really guessing. She really is feeling the effects of inflation. She was like, I don't know if I'm going to make my car paying, my house paying, my insurance, my gas, my lights, my electricity, all that. I'm like, Mom, this is what we all go through. You just said I was being stupid for talking about it last time. I took that opportunity to be as petty as possible. Because by God, she insulted the mess out of me for complaining about it before. She was like, well, I just don't think. That's right, you just don't think. Because you grew up when it was easy and now it's hard for everyone. And now you're confused why it's hard for everyone. It's difficult, isn't it? Difficult, isn't it? Now we're on the same playing field. And I hope that you do good, Mom. But at the same time, this is what you get. I don't know. This is like you guys caused the economy to be like this. This is your parents and you guys caused the economy to be like this. This is your fault. Y'all voted for this. This is what y'all wanted. Now we all suffering. Now we all suffering together in misery loves company.
When I moved to college, when I was living with my parents, I didn't even need to bother about anything, like nothing like, oh, I need to pay rent or anything. No, I don't worry about food. Everything is provided for me, and that was really very relaxing. I never knew about how good or how privileged I was to have all those things until I actually moved to college on my own. And it's like I'm just given a certain amount of money to take care of myself while living there, so I have to be the one to go and buy food for myself. I have to be the one who actually watch my rent get out of my accounts for the very first time. It's like, oh, they sent me my rent, they gave me the money for my rent, and I have to pay it myself. I'm like, oh, that's a lot of money I have to pay for rent. And then it's like buying all the food, you actually being accountable for anything you don't have in the house. And it's like, damn, like I'm now an adult. I really don't like it, because it's like so good to just be at home. And I know you can't be at home forever, but at least for the time that I can have the chance to do that, honestly, if you have the chance to do that, I would say just enjoy it and sit down, save up some money, relax, take a chill pill. You don't have to rush and be out there.
I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Living with your parents and not having to pay your rent is a flex. For one, everything's expensive. Gas is expensive, groceries expensive, rent is expensive, water bill is expensive. Shit, inflation is off the roof. So at this point, staying in your parents' house is the best decision ever. And to top it off, you could use the money that you're making from your job to put in your savings account instead of taking that money and putting it all towards rent. I feel as though people get shamed a lot for staying with their parents, but honestly, kudos to you, because for one, you know that you're not ready to live by yourself, and you may not just want that financial burden at the moment. So you're making that smart decision. You're making a smart decision by staying with your parents. Staying with your parents is not an issue and it's not a problem. And I need people to stop making people feel bad for staying home with their family, because at the end of the day, they doing what's best for them. And if you want to be independent and live on your own, kudos to you. For me though, I'm going to stay in my parents' house because for one, I'm African, and for two, I believe that I could save tons and tons and tons of money at the end. And one more last thing before I get on my ass, I'm not going to stay in my parents' house until I'm 30 or 40 years old. Chill the fuck out. I'm only 22.
I honestly feel like people that are out here making it on their own, paying bills, they have this judgment for people that live at home with their parents. Like, they're like, oh, you live at home with your parents, you ain't paying rent, so you don't have any problem. How you know? Sometimes living at home with your parents, which you're not paying their rent, you pay with your mental health. You don't know the type of relationship people have with their parents. Like, imagine not being able to make it in the world financially, so you have to move back home with your narcissistic parents. So now, okay, you're not able to pay any bills, you're in debt, but now you're not paying rent, but now you're dealing with the manipulation, psychological abuse of a narcissistic parent. And you can't afford to move out. I mean, everybody's quick to judge and think that everybody has it so much easier when you live back home with your parents, but you don't know people's situation. That's it. That's the post.
45% of Gen Z adults live with their parents. But get this, no one is calling them lazy. Gen Z moved home and was like,
I'm not fucking leaving! This is my home!
But Gen Z has rebranded this early adulthood trauma. Apparently, it's not only cool to shack up with mom and dad, it's become so common there's no longer a stigma. Like, how did they accomplish this? Millennials, you remember the utter shit we got? We were shamed.
The little darlings really can't make it on their own.
Junior's still in the basement.
Your financial problems should not become anyone else's.
They were lazy.
But the question, this trend is clearly not a failure of a single generation. Not being able to live independently as an adult is just normal. So is this really something our society should embrace?
Anyways guys, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching this video to the very end. Make sure you click the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Clicking the like button really helps with the algorithm, and I appreciate that so much. And don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.